The most powerful force on earth is a human soul on fire. You have a deep ache in your soul for something more, to come alive, to let your passion pour from you like an endless well. When your passion comes alive, the magnificence buried deep inside of you is unleashed. Gifts and talents you never realized surface as your life unfolds like poetry. You can do hard things. I can show you how. This is Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, where I teach you how to heal yourself from the inside out.
So anyway, back to herbs. They're so powerful. The Ayurvedic medicines are so powerful, and I work with a lot of people who we do consultations and they follow a lot of the things I say, but they never order their herbs, maybe about half. But the other half that orders their herbs and they follow the protocol diligently and they stay in communication with me and we adjust anything that might not be working or they're not preferring, these people have profound, like, it's so exciting for me because I'm a relatively new practitioner. It's really exciting for me to people tell me that they're feeling better and that their issues are clearing up.
Sure. Satisfying.
So in that way, I really recommend guidance. And if you want to know your prakriti, your birth constitution, as well as your vikruti, the current state of the doshas now, a lot of people, when we learn a little bit about Ayurveda, we're like, oh, I'm a this type, I'm a that type, I should eat this food. But it's so much more complex than that. And it's not just about your birth constitution. It's also about what is happening right now. And a practitioner can help you with that. Like Erin said, read your pulse, read your tongue, ask you a bunch of questions and get to the bottom of it. But in terms of what you can do without seeking a practitioner, I'd love to give some general guidance.
Please.
So let's talk about dinacharya, which means daily routine. So it is advised to get good regular sleep every night. That's foundational. So 3 foundational things in Ayurveda are food, sleep, and brahmacharya, which means that I like to call it the responsible use of energy, or also your relationship to sex and sexuality. But it doesn't have to just be about sex. It could just be your creative life force. Mm-hmm. So for sleep, okay, so I'm going to rewind a little bit. Before I get to dinacharya, I'm going to talk about these 3 pillars. So sleep, you'd want to sleep by 10 p.m. You'd want to go to sleep by 10, and you want to wake up slightly before sunrise. That would be ideal. Like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. would be like the ideal time. This is based on the rhythms of nature. So although some people are night owls, especially creative people, there's just a night owl. I get it. But in terms of the natural rhythms, to be with the sun and to sleep like a regular good chunk of hours at night in this way is highly advisable. So that would be the first. Actually, this does weave into dinacharya because this is how you do your day. And then we get to food, and it's also advised that you eat regular meal times. So if it's 3 meals for you, then it's 3 meals for you. That would be a slightly lighter breakfast, a largest meal in the middle of the day at lunch, and then a lighter dinner. Or I would kind of go medium breakfast, large lunch, light dinner, something like that. But it's advised that your biggest meal is in the middle of the day and that you're eating, between 12 to 2 is ideal for lunch.
That's when your Agni is the highest, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The sun is the highest in the sky.
Yeah,
Agni's
you're
the
in
highest.
the middle of your day.
It's like we're made of nature or something.
We are. It is a nature-based science. For those of you who don't know, Ayurveda is based on the principles of nature. That's why it is applicable for every person and every time and every environment, because the principles of nature don't change. Fire is hot, water is wet, air is dry and moving, Earth is heavy. You
Like
know,
the Panchamahabhutas?
Yes, the Panchamahabhutis. Yeah, and there's a lot more qualities there, but that's just to give you an example of how no matter where you go, these elements will stay true. And my first teacher, Deanna, said in our graduation, the elements will never betray you. No matter what happens, the elements will never betray you. Go back to the elements. So there's the elements, and then there's just the principles of nature, the seasons. We are nature, as Aaron said. So Ayurveda, such a good point. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yay.
When it comes to dinacharya, or your daily routine or your lifestyle, it's in sync with nature. And you're eating natural foods. You're eating whole natural foods, like, or we would, you know,
And
organic,
fresh, right?
Yeah,
Because that's something I learned here, because, you know, I'm just like, you know, I'm a busy bad bitch. What can I say? And so, like, I would get, like, you know, Costco frozen broccoli, but it's organic.
Yeah.
But then after being here, they're like, nope, fresh is way better. And you had said some things about freezing. It changes some things, like, you know, so fresh and whole, organic.
Yeah, so to the fresh point, it's ideal that you're preparing and cooking that food for that day, and that it doesn't go in the fridge and get reheated. That's ideal. But I also like to be real and say that it would be better that if you're really busy and that you food prepped and that you did have some extra soup and whatever, and you did reheat it the next day, is better than not having regular meals and not then going too long without food and then grabbing something unhealthy or like getting some takeout.
Right.
It would be better to make food at home and reheat it. That's just my personal. Doctors may disagree with me for sure.
You got to make it doable
But
in your life.
there's the ideal and there's the real. So I want to put that out there, that the best thing is to have healthy food, healthy homemade food. That's generally the best. No matter, very few restaurants actually use good oils and you know, that kind of thing. So, but whole foods, right? Like, it's not processed, it's not packaged, it's not the Beyond Burger, it's not. I'm trying to think of other examples. Like, it's not there's not too much processing in your food. You make the food.
Right.
You get the different food groups and you put them together.
Got it.
That would be ideal. And of course it would be organic or free from chemical toxins. And if you can, it's made each day. So like, the best thing to do if you're going to try to do this is you put a stew or a dal or something like that in a crock pot or whatever.
Instapot.
In the Instapot, and you eat that for lunch and dinner. It's also a really good way to calm your mind around food, because like, you know what food's coming. So I would recommend having a breakfast, and while you're at the time that you're preparing your breakfast, you're also preparing this simple pot of yummy goodness, and you're putting that on, you eat your breakfast, and then that pot can stay there you can take it to go to your work, and then it can be there for dinner, and you don't have to refrigerate it. It can stay on the counter. You know, you can reheat it a little bit then, if it hasn't been in the fridge, if you're worried about bacteria, but generally the food should be fine. That would be the best way to go about that. But if you're kind of lost here with what we're talking about with food, just do your best to eat regularly, like not skipping meals and eating random times, eating regularly. If you really don't feel 3 meals a day is what you need, then pick the 2 meals a day that really work for you. If you're really into intermittent fasting or something like that. Ayurveda generally recommends 3 regular meals a day, but there is a place for fasting too. And not if you're really depleted, not if you're really vata, but if you have more kapha, for sure you can do more fasting, but you're doing it in a mindful way. You're not just skipping meals.
Sure.
So regular meals and just whole, organic, good quality food.
They recommend cooked, yes, because raw is like a lot of times like hard on the digestive system. And
generally cooked is favored. Some raw definitely has its time and a place. That also is going to depend on your dosha. Raw food aggravates vata as well. But some raw would be okay, but generally more cooked for sure. You can have some fruit on its own that's raw. If you're a smoothie maker, just a note that cold foods are highly discouraged. It cools and kind of shuts down the digestive system. The digestive system works off of heat and juices. And so if you are going to have a smoothie, I recommend either not using frozen fruit or letting your smoothie sit out for a while. Some of my friends have really had to get used to warm smoothies, they call it, since being my friends. And one of them she's even like tells me that she's disobeying me and she's having a cold smoothie right now. But cold drinks and cold foods are not advised. And there's a lot more to it. Again, there's a lot of information out there, but specific guidance is really helpful because it's so nuanced and it's so vast. There's so many parts to it, but that should give a general, starting point with food, hopefully.
Now, because we're just about running out of time, I have to run down and get my ghee goggles. But we've been talking for like almost an hour, and it's just so fascinating. It just flew by. Can you very briefly maybe touch on the doshas? Just for everyone who's listening, just so they might have an idea. And then,
Can I quickly squeeze in there the daily ritual for
that? Of course.
So we have sleep, we have some food, and then for daily ritual, just gonna give you guys some quick tips. Tongue scraping, get a tongue scraper. Brush your teeth and scrape your tongue, and if you're an overachiever, then oil swish. So that would be in the morning. There's nasal oil drops you can do as well. And, wake up, clean your mouth, and then drink some warm water. And then do a little bit of movement first thing in the morning. Whatever it is, a little bit of movement and some meditation. Now, another beautiful thing that everyone can do at home. If you're medium or light, you would want to do daily abhyanga, daily oil massage on yourself. It is one of the most helpful things you can do. They also recommend just to put some oil on your head and the bottoms of your feet if you don't have time to oil your body. So this would be warming oil. You can just use plain organic sesame, or there's all kinds of amazing Ayurvedic oils. I really like Banyan Botanicals as in the US.
Yeah, huge fan.
Yeah, they have good oils. Or if you do speak with a practitioner, you'll get recommended in formulation oil. Banyan does their own formulations, but you can get a traditional formulation oil. They're so nice. They smell so good. And it's going to be catered to you. So you oil your whole body and massage the oil in, and then you'll actually wait a little bit, sweat if you can, and then you hop in the shower after you oil. So I know a lot of people will shower and then put oil on their body, but it's actually better to shower after. Then the oil gets soaked into your body, and if you oil your body after a shower, you're going to just kind of collect the debris of the day on your skin.
Right.
This will clear that all off. So that's just quick few things that I can offer that you can do at home. And then with brahmacharya, that would just be having basically the right amount of sex. So if you don't have a partner, it's not a healthy situation for you, then there's that time of celibacy, and that's highly recommended, and there's spiritual practice and connecting with yourself and all of that good stuff. And then if you do have a partner, it's having sex with your partner in a beautiful way. So I really like that part of sexual health. Is Ayurveda is so about balance, and it comes into play with sexuality and the use of your energy. Not sleeping all day and doing nothing, but not exercising 5 hours a day and working.
Like my yoga program right now.
Yeah, we've been talking about that.
I'm going to have a talk with the guy.
Goes a little too far. And not working 12 hours a day if possible. Or if you are doing that, then you're balancing it somewhere else where you're getting rest. So balanced use of energy. You think we have time for the doshas?
If we can do it in like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, just a brief touch.
We'll end with the doshas.
Okay.
So I'm just going to be really brief here. But Vata, Pitta, Kapha are the 3 doshas, and they come from, they're concepts really of how we look at ourselves and how we look at nature. And Vata is the combination of space and air. Pitta is a combination of fire and water, and Kapha is a combination of water and earth. Now, these doshas exist within each one of us and in our functions of our body. Vata rules the nervous system, everything that's to do with movement. It's also in the colon because of peristalsis and all that empty space in there. It works with the mind. Vata's quick thinking. And then you have Vata type people, and that I'm going to kind of leave that because of time. It's really easy to find that information online.
Sure.
And then you also have it in the type of food, and in the seasons you'll have Vata existing in nature and existing within you. It has all kinds of qualities that correspond with space and air. Dry, light, quick, these are all synonyms of what space and air are. Pitta is the combination of fire and water, so you'll have, and that is all the functions of the digestive organs such as the stomach, spleen, liver. Think of all these hot juices, fire and water, these gastric juices. It also rules the blood and the skin. So you can think of like magma,
Magma.
And Pitta can go dry because it could be more fire with less water, or it could go really wet like an infection. It can have more water and more fire, so it can kind of lean one way or the other. But you can kind of think of liquid hot, sharp, penetrating, sour. All the doshas have a corresponding taste. These are the qualities of Pitta. Pitta people are fiery, and again, I'll let people look more into it. Oh, I wish we had more time. And then Kapha is water and earth, so that's going to be like the bone density of our body, the bone marrow, the plasma, the lymphatic system, all the lubrication that is so necessary, the girth and lubrication of our bodies. And it's going to have more qualities of dense, heavy, slow, these kinds of things. And you can look into the qualities of a Kapha person as well. So we have all 3 doshas. All of us have all 3 doshas. So people can get a little lost when they're like, what are my doshas? Your prakriti is just whichever doshas are more predominant within you from conception until death, and they will not change. Your vikriti will change a lot. So sometimes you feel a lot more vata, many people do. It might not be your actual birth constitution. Likely it's a good chance it's a imbalance. It might be your birth constitution, it might not. So the birth constitution helps us to understand who we are, but it's not all that we are.
Right.
And so it's helpful to look up on the doshas and just start to understand the doshas more. And then just start to see them in yourself, see them in the world. And then that's when we start in Ayurveda, we bring in these concepts of pacification of the doshas. So if one's really high, there are foods and things like for Pitta, it'd be cooling foods, cucumber and things like that would come in. And you would use things within nature and things at your disposal to pacify the doshas that are out of balance. So we bring the doshas back to balance.
More into homeostasis.
Yeah, exactly, to homeostasis. And so what you want to be is like your most balanced you. So if you're a Pitta Kapha, or you're a Pitta Vata, or you're a Vata Kapha in terms of your birth constitution, you don't want to change who you are, but you want to be who you are in a balanced state.
Be the best you can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Your youest you.
Your youest you.
And that's what the doshas help you to understand, is like who you are, where your natural tendencies are. Dosha actually means that which causes disease, because it refers to that which can go out of balance easily. So your constitution is going to be all your beauty and all your strength, and where your tendencies are to get off balance more likely. Although we are all doshas, and all 3 doshas can go out of balance for any of us, and they can all be brought back into balance.
Right. Wow. Woo!
Wish we had another hour.
I know. So, I'm sure that people probably want to maybe follow you on social media. Can you share ways that people can reach out to you? And you sometimes do some private consultations, I understand?
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so if you're listening to this and you're interested in working with Molly, I can say firsthand that she is amazing, and she's going to teach me some pulses a little bit later. But she's an amazing teacher. She's passionate, and so I wanted to share her with you all and this beautiful science of Ayurveda. So please tell our listeners, how can they find you? How can they reach out to you?
Sure. Thank you. And I want to just say that I'm doing consultations by donation. It's really for the love of it. It's not for the money. I'm on a specific path right now. It looks like I'm going into a specific career role out in this part of the world. I'll keep that quiet for now, but I'll always be doing consultations because of the love for helping people. So yeah, just want our listeners, Aaron's listeners, to know that don't let money hold you back. Feel free to reach out if you need support, and also look for practitioners in your area, or let me know if you reach out to me if you want some help finding a practitioner in your area. So reach out to me anytime. My Instagram is at Molly Irene Yogin. So that's at MOLLYIRENEYOGIN. Erin follows me, so if you didn't catch that, you can search her followed, who she's following, and find me there. My name on Facebook is Molly Irene. Is that good? Or,
yeah. Do you have an email maybe as well?
Yeah. So my email is mollyirene42@gmail.com. So MOLLYIRENE42@gmail.com. I've been meaning to create a website for a decade, and I was going to actually hire someone in India to do that. But now it looks like I'm going to have this wellness manager position coming up. So not gonna bother with the website at this time, but that's how you can find me, and we can connect.
Yay!
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, your expertise, Molly, your friendship. I love you.
I love you.
I'm super happy that we connected in the land of yoga and Ayurveda. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with all of our listeners.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast and if it's helping you, please consider writing a review. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, go into the search bar and type in Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, scroll down, and you can leave a review. This helps other people to find me, as well as bumps us up in the search ratings. Also, this podcast is sponsor-free, so that means we don't receive anything for doing it. If you feel so inclined and this podcast is helping to support you and you want to return the favor and help to support any production costs of the podcast, feel free to give a donation to a Venmo link, Thrive Yoga Fit, or PayPal, Aaron@aaroncoach.com. If you don't have the means, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. You're all good. But if you would like to give back, you can give back in those ways. Thank you so much. Namaste.